that movie, Wax On, Wax Off?
Karate Kid. If the government says we can drop the mask mandates, does that mean the employers have to as well?
Yes, I mean, that's a good question. Look, the Public Health Agency of Canada, they've clearly communicated that employees that are vaccinated or people that are vaccinated can now be indoors without masking and even social distancing. So naturally, governments, and certainly the Alberta government has, by way of example, has elected to remove the mask mandate. Great. Sounds like we're going in the right direction. So what does that mean for employers, though? Well, for many employers, they'll look at it and go, well, if it's no longer legislatively required, and by the way, you always have to check local, so city bylaws, for example, as to whether you can. But now let's assume it's permissible. Just because it's permissible, the question becomes, as an employer, depending on your industry, should you remove your own, I'll call it internal, mask policy requirement? And yes, there are going to be those eager to remove the uncomfortable mask, no question about it. But there are going to be those who are very uncomfortable. For them, the mask likely is perceived as the most important piece of personal protective equipment that they utilize on a daily basis, and are fearful, literally fearful, of the potential harm that can befall them as a result of working with employees that are no longer wearing masks. So it's just important for the employer to consider it, because even if you say, well, fine, we'll let those that want to wear a mask wear a mask, those that don't. That's a simple answer. But for those who remain concerned, they will have a perception that because others are not wearing a mask, they're more vulnerable, even though they are wearing a mask. So it's a question that at least should be considered in that particular employer's context. So without that kind of training, no training in that, I was able to pluck a fly out of the air. And not only did I pick it out of the air, I didn't hurt myself.